Welcome to football's Play to Win, the fastest 45 minutes on TV.
Today's show is being brought to you by Nissan, the Orlando Law Firm, and Longhorn Steakhouse. Today's Hometown Team Report is brought to you by Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers, a higher order of pizza for your tailgating events.
All right, with Jeffrey, Bob, Nikki, Chuck, and Bob too, we're going to start talking about rivalry games. And the first one, Georgia-Florida.
Well, the Georgia-Florida game is, it's been a part of me forever because I am from Athens. Even though I went to Tennessee, I always remember, I'll never forget this, 1980, being in the car, going down the Atlanta Highway, when Buck Bellew threw the ball to Lindsey Scott. Lindsey Scott! Lindsey Scott! Lindsey Scott! So, the rivalry's crazy big. Crazy.
I was in Helen, Georgia when that happened.
Everybody remembers that.
You're old.
I am old.
Yeah. Helen, Georgia, Larry Munson going, Lindsey Scott, touchdown. They went up by 5. They didn't make the 2-point conversion, so I won with Florida plus 6.5.
He remembers the money.
Exactly. All right, how about Tech and Clemson?
Well, this game is huge because Clemson's just coming off of that really embarrassing loss to Syracuse. They've put their bye week to use, I think, probably put a little Neosporin on those wounds. They're looking to come back. Clemson's a terrible host, though. They've won 26 of their last 27 home games. So I'm not envious of Georgia Tech in this situation at all. I will be at that game. I will be wearing Clemson orange.
All right.
Tech is
Actually, I'm wearing a Tiger sweater.
Tech is 2 plays away
Not
from being
adorable.
undefeated in the top 10 and Marshall being a Heisman Trophy candidate.
2 plays.
2 plays.
That's bold.
That's how smart that's how small
What
the margin
could have been?
That's how small the margin is. All right, let's switch over to the NFL and talk a little bit about the Falcons-Jets.
Yeah, the Falcons they're reeling right now, after that tough loss last week, and they're really having a tough time against the AFC East, and this is another AFC East opponent, and defense is going to be the key. Falcons defense got to show up a little again, and they've been playing well, but it's just that they haven't been playing well enough for a slow Falcons offense that haven't been scoring the points like they normally have, Bob.
So what do you think about the identity thing, Bob? Are they going to run the ball? To me, they're pass happy a lot. I think they need to start running the ball a little bit, to kind of take some pressure off Matt Ryan.
Oh, definitely take pressure off, and it's just to establish an identity. When you want to establish an identity of your franchise and of your team, run the ball.
When you're on the 1-yard line, you do an end around, they got to throw away that New Mexico State playbook.
I knew he was going to say that.
Where'd that come from?
Jet sweep!
Yeah, we're talking NFL running up between the tackle and guard, right?
You got big running backs, they're good running backs, just jam it down their throat.
All right, we're going to come back in just a moment and bring you the NFL report. So you stay with us as we continue with football's Play to Win.
Do you suffer from irritability, boredom, and chronic cravings? Mellow Mushroom's craft pizza, beer, and cocktails are clinically proven to improve your mood and leave you with a full belly. Mellow Mushroom is fast-acting, giving you relief when you need it the most. Side effects of Mellow Mushroom may include salivation, euphoria, and an insatiable craving for more Mellow Mushroom. Ask your doctor about Mellow Mushroom. She may want to come with you.
Right here, Dad.
The Infiniti QX60. Impressive performance and seating for 7. Lease the Infiniti QX60 for $399 a month or finance at 1.9% APR at your Atlanta area Infiniti retailer.
The 2017 Nissan Rogue with available automatic emergency braking that could help stop for you. And motion-activated liftgate. You still got some tricks left in you. Take on today the Nissan Rogue family. Lease today, starting at just $159 per month, or save up to $10,760 on select models.
Today's NFL report is brought to you by Nellie Ford Sandy Springs. The car you want, the name you trust. It has to be Nellie Ford Sandy Springs.
let's start talking about the National Football League. And let's begin, Bob Whitfield, with the Panthers and the Bucks.
Yeah, it's like the battle of bottom feeders, in the NFC South. What you have here is Cam Newton's trying to get right, and you have Jameis Winston, who's been, kind of get wrong lately.
Yeah, hold a second there, Nikki. What are you doing with our?
That's creepy.
Basically, what these two teams look like.
Yeah, they're dead. They're dead. They're
It's
dead.
Halloween.
And and Chuck, we talked about this off camera about Christian McCaffrey being
Right.
the Panthers' go-to guy at a high draft pick, but he's not an off-tackle runner. He's a scat back that doesn't have yards after the contact explosion where
I don't believe he's a top 10. I'm serious. I mean, he's one-dimensional in the National Football League, B. I just don't really think he's a top 10 pick.
If Cam keeps throwing interceptions, he's going to have to improve his tackling skills because the Bears were running right by him last week.
Who dresses Cam Newton? No, serious question. Who dresses Cam
That's
Newton?
young boy fresh. That's how they
That
do
is
it now.
not young
That's
boy
young
fresh.
boy fresh. That's what it is. That's Atlanta. That's how cats in Atlanta.
Yeah.
What is Cam? 25? Is he even 25?
So he's old enough to know better than to wear some of that.
No, I thought Cam was real eccentric, but it was fresh.
He's just
Looks
reacting
like
to the nightmare.
Farnsworth Bentley meets Colonel Sanders from KFC. It's just so confusing. So anyway, I digress.
All right, let's talk Saints Bears.
Well, Drew Brees is money right now. He's really doing a great job, but he's been a leader for a long time for the New Orleans Saints. And if they got hope, it's Drew Brees at quarterback. But here's really interesting. The defense has stepped up. This team is starting to make big plays. They're creating turnovers. So I think what New Orleans has going on, a great offense and a defense that's giving the offense more possessions is going to be deadly for the NFC South.
New Orleans is the team to beat in the NFC
Right.
South.
That came out of nowhere too.
Yeah,
I did
that's
not
true.
see that
I don't know
coming.
about that, Jeff, but they doing good right now.
Yeah,
He's not ready to
I
give
don't
you
know about that.
yeah.
So who's the team to beat?
I still think the cats and
Falcons.
Flowery Branch.
The team I watched last Sunday night on TV?
Hey, things happen. What about the Saints? They lost, their first 2-3 games?
They look
so it
terrible.
can happen.
Okay.
Carolina won a couple. Now, look, we got them in the toilet bowl because they lost, 1 or 2? It
Yeah.
can happen.
Are you saying
I
we're
get it,
mean?
though, Jeff. Huh?
Are you saying we're mean?
Who?
Are we too mean?
Nah, you ain't too mean.
Too mean.
I
You're
think
never-
you guys it's a little premature.
Yes.
First, I think it's a little
Don't be
premature.
that critical too
But
early.
I get it though, Jeff. I get it. You the man.
So long as yeah, all right. Okay.
Players.
I like to stir it up. All right, Houston, Seattle, Nikki.
Oh, I'm excited about this
Yeah.
game. The Texans are scoring like crazy on offense, but this is the first time Deshaun Watson is going to face that legion of boom. We know how dangerous Seattle can be when everything's clicking. What I think is kind of interesting, though, is Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson kind of, and premature, I know, but they kind of look like they're on similar career paths. I mean, Russell Wilson was thrown in there as a rookie, and he hasn't missed a start in his last 6 seasons. What we've seen out of Deshaun Watson in the last 5 weeks, if he keeps that up, it could be a similar career path. Premature, yes, but exciting,
Yeah.
also yes.
Yes, absolutely. All right, how about Dallas, Washington?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know where Ezekiel is going to be at this week.
Yes.
Yes, Queen.
That's all he's got
I
to
like
say.
a dance group or something.
Yes. No,
Singing group.
is Ezekiel going to be playing this week? I don't know what appeal's going on, but what you have with Washington, you have Kirk Cousins who's trying to just hang around to what Philly is putting up with a vaunted offense, and Washington's running game, they can get established. So I like Washington in that excellent matchup.
All right, how about the picks, Jeffrey?
Well, starting at Chicago at New Orleans. New Orleans doing great, but I like Chicago with the points. I love their defense. Carolina, Tampa Bay, give the 2 at Tampa. They're home, and I'm not that crazy about Carolina. And Dallas is beginning to put together. Give the 2 at Washington. Washington goes up and down the field, and then they just run out of gas at the end.
All right.
Go with Dallas.
More in a moment on Play to Win.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Hurry in to Nally Ford and get 0% APR for 72 months on 2016 F-150 XLT. Plus over $4,000 in bonus cash.
Hey y'all, we're Low Cash and we love Nally Ford and NallyFord.com. It has to be Nally Ford Sandy Springs.
It's no secret that Georgia is a growing state. And with the help of Georgia Power, that growth will continue. Because we're committed to improving our state by bringing in new businesses and more good jobs. Over 134,000 in the last 10 years alone. giving our well-trained workforce more opportunity to build a better future. Because Georgia is our home too, and we want life here to thrive for all of us.
At Longhorn, step into wood, stone, steak. Don't prepare a meal for yourself. Prepare yourself for a meal. Feast on one of Longhorn's steakhouse cuts, 12-ounce New York strip, center-cut Flo's filet. For a limited time, 14-ounce Delmonico. The feeling, the flavor, the place. Longhorn Steakhouse. You can't fake steak.
Today's NFL Fantasy Report is being brought to you by Haviland Express Lube, driven to perform, so our customers and their vehicles can too.
Time for the fantasy report now with Adam Brown and Chuck Smith. And I see that we have some teams on bye week.
We got 6 teams on bye, but can we start with what Amari Cooper did last week? 11 catches, over 200 yards, and a couple touchdowns. He's back. I like Amari Cooper an awful lot now going forward.
Yeah.
But let's get started with my quarterbacks this week. And I have Josh McCown, and I have Dak Prescott this week. McCown playing the Falcons. Look for him to have a nice week. 7 touchdown passes last 3 weeks. And Dak Prescott playing that Washington defense that got torched by Carson Wentz last week. Look for him to have a nice week.
I think Josh McCown, I don't believe he's going to do anything. I think the Falcons are going to get right. This is the get-right game for the Falcons defense. Your boy Josh might have some trouble. So I disagree with you on that.
Okay, well, he might have some garbage time points coming up, but we'll go to the running backs and Joe Mixon and LeGarrette Blount. Mixon had a bad week last week. Complained, Marvin Lewis told him to grow up. This is his grow-up game this week against Indianapolis. LeGarrette Blount playing that San Francisco defense that's awful. Look for him to have a nice week. Blount scores 2 touchdowns this week. Mixon scores a touchdown this week.
Well, you said he had a rough week. He had a bad attitude. Mixon flat out had a bad attitude.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're going to give him the ball like you think. Marvin Lewis might not feed into that attitude and that little ego, but Mixon is a hot mess right now.
Yeah, I look for him to have a nice week, though, if he can get touches. I look for him to have about 15 to 18 touches this week. Okay. Now we have Nelson Aguilar and Will Fuller. Nelson Aguilar playing in San Francisco. He scored a touchdown the last 3 weeks. Carson Wentz likes him a lot. Third, fourth quarter, he catches a lot of his balls. Look for him to have 5 catches, 70 yards, and another touchdown. And Will Fuller, even though they're playing at Seattle, he has 5 touchdown catches the last 3 games. I like Will Fuller a lot this week, with Deshaun Watson getting him the ball down the field while they're doubling Hopkins.
Yep.
So look for him to have a nice week. Okay. Now for tight ends, we have Jared Cook and Tyler Kroft. Tyler Kroft for the Bengals has scored touchdowns each of the last couple weeks. And Jared Cook, I like him because David Carr has found Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree, but he's going to have to go over the middle a lot when they're getting doubled. So Buffalo's going to double the outside. Look for Jared Cook to have a touchdown. And then...
All right, let me talk some defense. Let's talk about Cincinnati, because the Cincinnati defense is real sick right now.
Like
I'm telling you right now, Geno Atkins and the crew, they're adding up points, and this week they play against Indianapolis. So Indy's been struggling. Jacoby Brissett struggling at quarterback. I like this matchup for Cincinnati. On the other end of the spectrum, I like Minnesota, a top 5 defense. I'm telling you right now, they play against the Cleveland Browns, who really don't have much of an offense. So that's where I'm looking on defense.
Double-digit points by both defenses the last 5 or 6 weeks.
All right, that's it. You're ready for fantasy. We'll be back in a moment. Talk more Falcons football right here on Play to Win.
Good luck, everyone.
Who do you trust to change your oil? I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell. This is really my car, and Haviland Express Lube is who I truly trust. They're professional, priced to beat the competition, and really, really fast.
Hey football fans, don't take chances by driving with worn-out wiper blades. Pull into Haviland Express Loop Monday through Thursday, mention football's Play to Win, and get a free pair of wiper blades with the purchase of an oil change.
To see our real research and find the location nearest you, visit trustdale.com/Haviland.
We are the blood, sweat, and tears of fierce ambition. We are fueled by the impossible, an inner drive that can't be contained. We are the Georgia Bulldogs. So shout, "Go Dogs!" and let the game begin. Here's to building champions. Now get $10,800 in total savings on the 2017 F-150. See your local Ford dealer today.
As an athlete, you know winning doesn't come easy. When you get injured, it's no different. It's hard work coming back, but you accept the challenge. At GMC Sports Medicine, we've built one of the top programs in the nation with the most sports medicine fellowship-trained doctors and the largest team of certified athletic trainers in Georgia, managing 42,000 athletes. Getting you back to peak performance is our challenge, and it's game on.
Today on Football's Play to Win, we'll discuss the Bulldogs' annual trip to Jacksonville to take on Florida, preview Tech Clemson. Instead of asking what's wrong with the Falcons, we'll tell you what they're doing right.
Today's show is being brought to you by Ford, Mellow Mushroom, and Georgia Lottery. Welcome to Football's Play to Win with Falcons All-Pro defensive end Chuck Smith, Falcons All-Pro offensive tackle Bob Whitfield, Fantasy Football League Master Adam Brown, Game Analysis with Nikki Williams, Play to Win expert Jeffrey the Ed Schechter, Medical and Injury Update with Dr. Andrew Lalagi, and your host, Atlanta sports legend Bob Neal. Today's University of Georgia report is being brought to you by This Is It Barbecue and Seafood, home of Atlanta's original rib tips.
All right, here's the question. Does Florida have the mental edge over Georgia?
Yeah.
Yes.
Always.
Yes. They got to know they, they.
The hibbity-jibbity-jibbity.
Yeah, they can't lose. Even if they lose, they can't lose.
Right.
They can play well.
Historically, it hasn't been the way. It has been that way recent, though.
Yeah, the fans talk about it. Florida talks about it, even like the cats that are talking smack this week.
Yep.
I mean, it is what it is. But one of the things is Kirby's trying to change the narrative. I understand that, but
It's a new regime.
Come on.
It's new.
Because we know, Georgia has an advantage. They're just a more powerful team. But Florida, they can talk mess. Or Chauncey Gardner said the quarterback's simple.
But we've been there, right? I mean, look, San Fran used to smash us in the 90s. I mean, what we lost, 16 in a row, something like that, Bob. So, and they were, at the end of the day, when we went out the Candlestick, it was almost, you had the feeling that something was going to go wrong. There's no other way to put it. That's being straight, complete, and being honest. That's how it was.
Let me tell you something. They don't beat Florida this year. They should change conferences.
And go to the ACC.
Go to the ACC because.
Hey, ACC.
Hey,
might be
oh,
tough on the ACC. Man.
All right, now let's talk about the offensive line, Bob Whitfield.
Georgia's offensive line is dynamic as I see them, Bob.
Yeah.
And what you have is they run screens, they run inside zone, they run counter, they do a lot of things. But one of the things they've been doing well lately has been pass protection. And you saw Chaney open up the offense for Fromm to throw downfield on some nice dig routes, 15, 18-yard routes where you have to have good protection. Isaiah Wynn has been a stalwart. That left tackle has been protecting for that quarterback very well. They got to get back to running the ball under the center, do some stuff with Chubb, get back to really smash mouth football. I like to see.
All right, how about the quarterbacks, Nikki?
I like to see. Well, this is an interesting quarterback situation. I mean, you got Fromm and Franks. They're both brand spanking new to this. So if it weren't for everyone else getting in their ear and telling them how competitive this game is, they actually might not even know. But maybe them being new at this would be an advantage for them. I will say the last UGA quarterback to beat Florida on their first try was way back in 1989 when you were about 40. That was Greg Talley.
I was in 10th grade. 10th grade.
Fromm, you're not young.
10th grade.
Fromm is a leader. We know this by now that he is. Franks is having issues with communication. He has problems with decision making. So obviously Fromm is going into this with the momentum. But it's Florida. I mean, it's anyone. God, every freaking time. We could break down the mechanics of this all day long, but it's Florida. If Georgia loses to Florida, it won't make a lick of sense to any of us except for the fact that it was Florida.
Well, come on, Syracuse just beat Clemson, so I mean,
that's
a real upset. So look,
Yeah.
really, now if Florida were to beat Georgia, it ain't big as Syracuse beating Clemson.
That's true.
All right, so it can happen.
Now let's talk about the coordinators for both teams.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you right now, the coordinators. I mean, they're under pressure. Mel Tucker at Georgia, their defensive coordinator, he has to slow down this Florida offense that really hadn't had any success. Because I'm going to tell you what Florida's going to do. They're going to slow the ball down. They want to go at a snail's pace because if Georgia gets a lot of possessions, they're going to get a lot of points. That's just how it works. And on the other side, Randy Shannon, D coordinator at Florida, he's trying to pack 8 in the box, stop the 2 running backs, Chubb, and get the running game and stop that running game. It's really important for him to get after him and stop the running game.
All right, one man who knows a lot about this series is former Georgia football quarterback star Buck Ballou from 680 The Fan, and he weighs in.
Well, I tell you, I've always loved the Georgia-Florida game, and I look at this trend that we've been following since Steve Spurrier took over the Florida program in 1990. Bulldogs are 6-21. 6-21. Can you believe it? That's a terrible trend. But I don't think it factors into this ball game. As a matter of fact, I think the only trend that matters is that the Georgia seniors are 0-3 against the Gators, and that is impactful. These guys like Nick Chubb, highly motivated. I think this is one of the things on their bucket list coming back for one more year at Georgia, was to be able to beat the Gators in Jacksonville, leave Georgia with a win over the Gators. How do they do it? Well, in those 3 losses, Florida has dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. I think this year you're going to see where that's going to turn around. Georgia's offensive line playing better. Their defensive line's deep and talented. Look for Georgia to win that line of scrimmage battle, come back home to Athens with a victory.
All right, Buck. Jeffrey, how do you see it?
Florida is mediocre at best. Georgia's a tough team. This is their year. I'm even going to pet the cap here. They got to get ahead of them and run it up. So do what Spurrier would do to Georgia. I like Georgia giving 13.5 points.
Given the 13.5. It's a lot in that big game.
Different classes.
All right, different classes.
Different classes.
That's all you need to
Hope
know
you're
from
right.
this man right here. We'll come back in just a moment. You stay with us. We continue with Football's Play to Win.
All right, time to put the cookies out for Santa. I forgot to put them in there. Oh no. Idea. What about that? Yeah. What? Santa will love some. This is it. Promise you. Good for his tummy, right?
Ah. Ho, ho, ho. It's the Red Tits!
If you or a loved one has been seriously injured in an accident, don't drop the ball by letting the insurance company run all over you. I worked as an insurance lawyer for 10 years and I know their tactics and game plan. I'm Roger Orlando of the Orlando firm. Let our 30 years of experience tackle the insurance company for you. Our team will get you every dollar you deserve. So put the ball in our hands and we'll get your case across the goal line. Find us online at atlanta.law or call 678-LAW-FIRM.
What's that? Some Mega Millions winner living out her fantasy. Aunt Edith.
Mega Millions in my pocket, Aunt Edith made it. Walking around jet setting, pink poodle, diamond wearing, family mad cause I got a timeshare and I ain't sharing. Mega Millions got me on a new adventure.
Bro, she's better than you, man. Oh, man, look at this. 2 million views. Boy.
Mega Millions is bigger. Make sure your dreams are too. And listen to Aunt Edith's album, 40 Mil, now streaming on Spotify.
Today's SEC College Report is being brought to you by the Southeast Nissan dealers. Choose Nissan.com.
Georgia Tech and Clemson. Let's break it down.
Oh, I'll break it down for
Yes,
you.
you
This game is awesome, but it's all Clemson's game. You know, they have not lost 2 back-to-back games since 2011. Their defensive coordinator, Venables, he is the option whisperer. He can pick out the vulnerabilities. Did I say that right?
Yes.
He can pick out those vulnerabilities in that niche attack like nobody can. He shut it down for the last 2 years, and Kelly Bryant is a go. So this game, it's Clemson's game. They're coming back to show everybody that they are not the team that lost to Syracuse, and I'll be there.
Yeah, you'll be there, witnessing that rambling wreck run through that team.
You don't mean that.
Yeah.
You're making that up.
Hey,
Chuck, you didn't tell me Tennessee was coming to the show today.
She making fun of me for, rambling a little bit, stumbling with my tongue, but it's okay. Payback, that's karma. But
Just
look,
seeing if you're paying attention.
But look, I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention to Georgia Tech. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. Georgia Tech's gonna slow the game down.
Yeah.
Clemson's gonna wear it down, and I'm gonna tell you, Kelly Bryant's not gonna be able to get the ball enough because Georgia Tech's gonna control the clock now. I'm going with Georgia Tech in an upset. Let me tell you this: 2 big stories coming out the ACC this year. Florida State struggles, and guess what? Clemson also struggles this year, so the ACC is not quite as good as everybody thought it was going to be.
Clemson lost to Pitt last year and came back just fine.
Today's Showdown of the Week is being brought to you by the Georgia Lottery, where every jackpot is a good jackpot.
All right, a big Big Ten game, Ohio State, Penn State.
Well, in this game, I think it's going to be interesting because Ohio State's already lost 1 game. Penn State looking phenomenal right now. But here's the thing. If Penn State loses, there's a possibility they could still get in the Final Four because they have one loss. Now, Ohio State, if they lose, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. So it's going to be interesting because in that conference, you got Wisconsin that's undefeated. So it's going to be real interesting. But I don't believe Wisconsin gets in no matter what, even if they win the conference championship. That's just kind of how I feel.
And can two teams get in?
Well, maybe not with these two teams.
They can.
Yeah, not this conference. I said maybe in the SEC you might see two teams if Georgia can do something and Alabama maybe one lost team.
Yeah.
But in this game right here, Penn State, I love the Saquon kid. But I don't love him this week because I need that guy, Bryce Love, to win the Heisman, Stanford running back, so Saquon can't do any good.
If Wisconsin runs the table, there's no way they're not in.
I don't think they're in.
Yeah?
I don't think they're in. I think Georgia and Alabama can get in, but I just got this funny feeling that's not going to happen. Let me just tell you, I just feel like Georgia's going to lose the game before Alabama.
An undefeated Wisconsin that wins the conference championship game, which will be either Ohio State or Penn State, you don't think they would get into the Final Four?
I don't know.
With their eyes closed.
I don't know, bro.
You got TCU hanging around there too. Don't forget
Let's hear the
TCU.
picks, Jeffrey.
I like Tech against Clemson with the 14 points. I think they can play with Clemson. Clemson's offense didn't look so great. A lot of talk about Notre Dame in the Final Four.
Well,
there's talk about that. I'm not talking about them. I don't see it. I like NC State with the 7 points. Ohio State's been lurking after they lost. They're looking in or whatever. They win Penn State, they're right back in it. Give the 6.5 at Ohio State.
All right, Falcons report when we come back on Football's Play to Win.
The 2017 Nissan Rogue with available automatic emergency braking that could help stop for you. And motion-activated liftgate. You still got some tricks left in you. Take on today the Nissan Rogue family. Lease today, starting at just $159 per month, or save up to $10,760 on select models.
We've owned a few different houses through the years. Your company was absolutely the best. They were so professional. Everything they did, they didn't get a mark on a wall or anything else. It was clean, it was friendly, and it was fun. And most of the time, moving is not fun. I'm going to give a great recommendation to Atlanta Peach Movers. It's always on time and it's always professional. There is no tree in Atlanta Peach Movers.
To schedule your move, call Atlanta Peach Movers today.
At Longhorn, step into wood, stone, steak. Don't prepare a meal for yourself. Prepare yourself for a meal. Feast on one of Longhorn's steakhouse cuts, 12-ounce New York strip, center-cut Flo's filet, for a limited time, 14-ounce Delmonico. The feeling, the flavor, the place. Longhorn Steakhouse. You can't fake steak.
Today's Atlanta Falcons report is brought to you by Ford F-150, the official truck of the NFL.
All right, the Falcons report brought to you by Ford. Say Falcons, say Matt Ryan.
You say it, and you wonder what the heck is going on with Matt Ryan. It's like he's having this hard time throwing the deep ball. It's like every time he throws the ball, he's just off by a hair. Just one little chin hair. And he's trying to throw these balls through a narrow window. And I'm wondering why everyone had so much open green space last year. He does not have it this year. Is this an offensive coordinator thing or is it a Matt Ryan thing?
Here's a good question. You, Bob, be the Falcons offensive coordinator.
Well, being offensive coordinator for the Falcons, you inherited a playbook that was greater than thou. It was just like the Bible of offenses, but you had to implement what you thought Sarkisian was going to be the impetus of his team. And what we see in these couple games is that we might need to change out of 10 and 11 personnel, which is one running back, 0 tight ends, and one running back, 1 tight end, to some real 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, and run some true smash mouth football. Because you have a running back that you gave all that money to, and it'll be a shame that Arthur Blank spent all that money, and he doesn't get to touch the rock enough. Give it to Devontae Freeman. We don't need the shuttling in of backs. Let's go smash mouth football here.
Especially on the 1 yard line. You give it to Devontae Freeman. You don't do
No
one of these,
jet sweeps.
One of these
Exactly.
Mountain
You're the
West
coordinator. I like
jet
that.
sweeps.
All right, you be, Chuck,
Okay.
the defensive coordinator.
All right, so I'm Marquand Manuel, the DC. So I tell you this, to me, let me tell you number one, Bob, it starts with execution. The Falcons don't seem to be executing the defense because one of the interesting things that keeps happening, I talk about this every week, is that they keep letting the quarterbacks escape and buying time. And that's what happened last week. They got two guys and two D linemen in the B gaps and no one's covering the A gaps, which for our viewers are the two gaps right next to the center. You've seen Tom Brady escape there multiple times and buy time. And number two, Bob, it's the secondary. I want to see the secondary get a chance to play a little zone. Take some pressure off of the secondary from going man to man because they're running all around the field and they're getting tired. But I would like to see them throw them a bone. Marquand Manuel, throw the secondary a bone. Can play a little zone, a little cover too, where everybody has some space to work.
Yeah, problem with sometimes when you get into the zone or cover two, it loosens up the field. Though.
No question. You're right. It does loosen up the field, but it just when you play man to man, it just opens up different lanes when you're chasing guys. But you get tired.
Yeah.
You get tired. So when you play man to man, sometimes it really gets you tired. I think they need to play a little zone more. I like to see a little more zone, Bob. And, give the guys a chance to just kind of settle in and not burn as much energy, and they need that.
How about the Jets?
Well, I think the Jets are going to be, hard to handle. I mean, this Jets team, when you talk about playing in New York at MetLife, they're getting after it. I mean, give Todd Bowles a lot of credit, but I'm going back to another defensive coordinator. To me, the most important person on that team has been Casey Rogers, the DC. They've revamped it. They've kind of fit different guys in. Jordan Jenkins, former Georgia Bulldogs, really stepping up real big. Yep. So I just think Casey Rogers has done a masterful job, and Todd Bowles has given him the freedom to kind of mold that defense around what he does.
All right, Jeffrey, how do you see it?
Well, 8 o'clock last Sunday, I was in a great mood. I was 5-0 for the day, and now I got Atlanta, and I was happy about it. If I was off a blank, I'd keep my eye on this coach a little because I didn't like what I saw last Sunday night. It was more like he was coaching the fifth quarter of the Super Bowl than trying to go from 3-2 to 4-2. But that being said, I'm going to give them another chance and go with Atlanta, give the 4 against the Jets.
All right, what does everybody think about Dan Quinn in this situation?
I still love Dan Quinn. I think he brings the energy, but he does have to set a new tone because it was last year's tone that was set with what the offense does. Now he has to step in and say, offense, hey, we got to change it and let's tote the rock a little bit more.
I think the players need to step up. Personally, as former NFL players, I understand what Bob is saying, but we know in games where we lose, we have a great game plan. They tell us exactly what's going to happen, and sometimes it's execution. Now, I know there's some questions about 4th and 5 and was it 4th and 6 going, first quarter, second quarter.
In their own territory.
Yeah, in their home I understand that. That's up for debate. I personally wouldn't have did it, but I think the players need to take more responsibility, step up, and do the things they're coached to do. Because everybody knows when you rush the passer, you got to stay in your lane. Everybody knows when you're a receiver, you got to do your best to catch the ball. Blocking, I don't see Dan Quinn out there, playing tackle, kicking back like Bob Whitfield would and giving up sacks. So there's some fundamental things that every football player knows that they have to do better. Coaches coach.
But you got adjustments, and that's what I think when you say with coaches is how you're going to adjust because you got a right guard that's been giving up pressure. So can you have a B blocking a chip on the way out? Can you, give the guy some run plays early on, Chuck,
but
to
look
get
at this.
him?
I mean, it's the same defense Seattle's run. They're a base most of the time cover 2, but Atlanta plays more. It's like I said, put the pedal to the metal and keep going. So it's been real successful for Seattle. So to me, don't panic. You know what I'm saying? And like I said before, coaches coach. Ultimately, players are the ones who execute what has to be done. So I think it's a little bit overblown actually from Sark and Dan Quinn. And the players are in that locker room saying, you know what? We're actually making our coaches look bad because we're the ones that aren't executing. We're the ones who are missing tackles. We're the ones that aren't where we're supposed to be.
All right, you heard it here from two guys who do know. We'll be back in just a moment. Injury report is next on Football's Play to Win.
We are the blood, sweat, and tears of fierce ambition. We are fueled by the impossible, an inner drive that can't be contained. We are the Georgia Bulldogs. So shout, go Dogs, and let the game begin. Here's to building champions. Now get $10,800 in total savings on the 2017 F-150. See your local Ford dealer today.
You never know when the moment will strike. And when it does, you want to be ready. Mellow Mushroom's craft pizza, beer, and cocktails can help you enjoy a more satisfying eating experience. Mellow Mushroom is safe for daily use. If you find yourself sitting in a Mellow Mushroom for more than 4 hours, you may want to go home and come back another day. Mellow Mushroom is not for everyone. Just kidding, it is. Ask your doctor about Mellow Mushroom. He may want to come with you.
As an athlete, you know winning doesn't come easy. When you get injured, it's no different. It's hard work coming back, but you accept the challenge. At GMC Sports Medicine, we've built one of the top programs in the nation with the most sports medicine fellowship-trained doctors and the largest team of certified athletic trainers in Georgia, managing 42,000 athletes. Getting you back to peak performance is our challenge, and it's game on.
The 2017 Nissan Rogue, with available automatic emergency braking that can help stop for you. And motion-activated liftgate. You still got some tricks left in you. Take on today the Nissan Rogue family. Lease today, starting at just $159 per month, or save up to $10,760 on select models.
Today's player injury and medical report is being brought to you by the Orlando Law Firm. Put a former insurance lawyer in your corner.
Time for Inside Injuries. Dr. Lulaji not with us this week, but Dr. El-Amin is. You're talking about Carson Palmer.
I am. Thank you for having me here today, Bob. As you know, Carson Palmer sustained what they call a forearm fracture. The forearm fracture happened when he was tackled and pretty much requires surgery. So he's going to be out for about 6 to 8 weeks, and maybe he may get back, but this is going to be a very serious injury. I actually have an example here today to actually show what kind of injury Carson sustained.
I think it's appropriate, by the way, for Halloween.
Very appropriate. As you know, Carson, what they say is he broke his both bone forearm, which is this bone here. There's speculations that he broke the outer bone, which is this ulna, which is important for him to be able to throw and handle the ball, excuse me. So he's actually going to need a plate and screw to fix this, whereas a lineman, typically, who doesn't need his arm to throw and or handle the ball, can actually be casted and can get back sooner, as you see. All right, let's talk about some of the other injuries of this week. We also know that we had Delaney Walker, who sustained an ankle sprain. He left the stadium on crutches in a walking boot after his ankle injury. The Titans have a bye week, so he should have an extra week to recover. However, he's going to need about 3 weeks for him to return. The next person is Golden Tate. As you know, he sustained a shoulder injury, an AC sprain. They had a bye week, so we should see how he's doing, but he's been in the sling all week. He's going to need a couple weeks to get better, but he could play, but probably won't. And the last person is Jay Cutler. As you know, the quarterback sustained a rib fracture while playing. So this injury is extremely painful, will hurt him when he's twisting and throwing the ball. So therefore, he could possibly be out for a couple of weeks. We'll see.
All right, great job. This is a note. Dr. Lulaji may need to be here next time because it's like Lou Gehrig. You know, he misses. You come in and do a great job.
And guess what I got for Halloween? You ready?
What do you got?
You ready? You ready?
We're
ready?
Show and tell?
Show and tell. A little, see that, everyone?
A little Batman belt.
That's Batman belt.
So you not only do a great job, you have a Batman belt.
I got Batman belt.
All right,
couldn't do a job without
take
it.
note, Dr. Lulaji.
Thanks,
we'll come
guys.
back and continue in a moment with Football's Play to Win.
If you've been seriously injured in an accident, don't get blindsided by the insurance company. I'm Roger Orlando, and I built a winning team to run interference against the insurance companies and get your case across the goal line. Call me at 678-LAW-FIRM.
This is it. Hey, baby. This is it. I did not feel like cooking, and you know how much I love their food. Guess what? The It's the Rib Tips man, he wrote a book, and it's a good one. Just as good as his food.
For more than 33 years, This Is It Barbecue and Seafood has served delicious meals cooked with love and history. Visit a location today.
Who do you trust to change your oil? I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell. This is really my car, and Haviland Express Lube is who I truly trust. They're professional, priced to beat the competition, and really, really fast.
Hey football fans, don't take chances by driving with worn-out wiper blades. Pull into Haviland Express Loop Monday through Thursday, mention football's play to win, and get a free pair of wiper blades with the purchase of an oil change.
To see our real research and find the location nearest you, visit trustdale.com/Haviland.
In football, as in the legal system, it helps to know your opponent. I'm Roger Orlando, and I used to work for the insurance companies. I've seen their playbook, and I know their game plan. If you've been hurt in an auto accident, call me at 678-LAW FIRM.
What's that? Some Mega Millions winner living out her fantasy. Aunt Edith.
Mega Millions in my pocket, Aunt Edith made it. Walking round jet setting pink poodle diamond wearing family mad cause I got a timeshare and I ain't sharing. Mega Millions got me on a new adventure.
Bro, she's better than you, man. Oh, man, look at this. Man, 2 million
Boy. Mega Millions is bigger. Make sure your dreams are too. And listen to Aunt Edith's album, 40 Mil, now streaming on Spotify.
Today's lightning round is brought to you by Longhorn Steakhouse, now featuring great American steak dinner. Longhorn Steakhouse, you can't fake steak.
Welcome to the Longhorn Lightning Round. Jeffrey, let's hear what you got.
Oak State, they struggled with Texas last week. They're going to struggle with West Virginia this week. I like West Virginia with the points. All aboard for the Arizona Home Dog Express. These teams are always great home dogs. They're improving. Take the 3 with Arizona against the Toothless Cougars, and take 3.5 with Arizona State against the Paper Trojans. In the pros, who do we like in the pros? I like Buffalo, give it 2.5 over Oakland. They're playing good ball, and they're tough at home. I don't think Seattle's as good as people think they are. The fans are more ferocious than the defense. Take Houston with the points, and Pittsburgh might be the best team in football. Detroit's a little bit of a disappointment. Give it 2.5 with Pittsburgh.
All right, let's go back. One final comments about.
You can't be a toothless cougar. That's an oxymoron. Cougars are like attractive older women. You know, you got to have all your teeth. You can't pull off that cougar status with no teeth. Oh, you're talking about an animal,
Oh,
like an
that's
actual
right.
cougar.
That's right.
I don't live in that world.
No, this is right. We're talking cougars that all the guys like to think.
Just
about.
win, Falcons. Just win.
Just win. That's all
Let's
it is.
do that.
Run and win.
All right. Can they win? And how do they win if they do?
They can kidnap the opponent. Chuck said it might work for Alabama if they get off on the wrong exit.
Just go and play the game. They're better than the Jets. You know, Jets are playing tough. They're hanging around. But there's no way they should lose to the Jets.
How big a role does the defense play in this?
Oh, I think it's huge. They got to stop the run. That's where the Falcons have kind of struggled a little bit. Stand in their position. The Falcons have been kind of getting knocked off the ball a little bit. The key is they got to stop the run and make the Jets one-dimensional and make the Jets focus on passing the ball. I think that's the key for the Falcons.
Yeah, I think about this Falcons team. I don't know if there's an identity per se. What would you call their identity, Bob?
Well, it bounces in between the stars. So it bounces between Julio, Matt Ryan, and then you got the running back, and then you got the defensive guys that are starting to show up. So it's one of those things that we don't know the true identity because we just riding with Dan Quinn, and he's becoming.
You mean Dead Quinn?
Dead Quinn. He's not dead yet.
It's pretty cold.
I'm just messing with you.
The ultimate bandwagon fan is Nikki. You need to
stop it.
Falcons, what, 3-3? Stop.
Yeah.
I'll put Dead Quinn
It's a
down.
long
Fine.
season. By the way, there's a lot of love
Nick.
here on the set. We'll see you next week on Football Play to Win.
Today's show has been brought to you by Haviland Express Lube. This is It Barbecue and Nally Ford Sandy Springs.